have the microphone on, so we're going to do a voiceover for this section. We decided to follow the property line, heading towards a section of the property that we really don't have a lot of experience with. So this really was an exploration time for us. We were heading down this hill, and you could see I'm ahead of Lisa on this part, and I decided to go to the left, thinking that the actual trail itself looked a little bit too rocky. But what I found out is as I got down and tried to head back onto the actual trail, there was quite a rivet on the side of the trail that I was afraid if I tried to go down, I would actually end up rolling my bike. So then I found myself trying to back up a little bit up the hill so I could find a spot that was a little bit easier to negotiate and then get back on the main trail and head down. The unfortunate part of this video is that you really can't see how steep some of these sections are that Lisa and I tried to go down today. But there was a couple times where, I don't know about you, Lisa, but my wrists were actually hurting, kind of holding my weight as gravity was pushing me down onto the front of my bike. But as you can see here, we started heading down, and as I was saying, it was pretty steep, and there were some real rocky areas that was giving us quite a challenge.
But you can see that big ravine over there. It almost looks like it was washed out. I mean, it's pretty chewed up over there.
That was the part that I was heading towards that I had to back up and get out of because, yeah, I don't feel I had the experience to try tackling something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the video really doesn't do it justice. It was pretty bad. I don't think anybody actually goes down that part.
So right about here, you had seen that there was a trail off to the right. We had gone up that way before. This trail we were on, I had only seen it, and I was always curious as to what was down there. But, you know, even this little creek crossing, this little stream crossing that Lisa's doing right now, was actually a challenge because it was steep as heck, and then it went right back up the other side.
Yeah, and you really can't see that in the video,
And it
how
was
steep it is.
and it was angled to the left.
Oh yeah, it really was.
So you actually had to kind of hug that tree that Lisa just went past because it went up rather steeply to the right of it. And as you can see, we were heading down, and right about this point in time, I was kind of thinking to myself, you know, that I'm really not having a lot of fun anymore. This is a little bit too black diamond for our skill set. And, you know, we're not the youngest people out there ATVing, and, you know, our bones were getting jarred a little bit. At least, maybe I should just speak for myself. I'll tell you, I was getting bounced around a bit out there.
Yeah, I was getting bounced around, but I think my bones were fine. Thank you very much.
Well, maybe she has better shock absorbers than me. I don't know.
Oh, you did not even go there.
Oh, oops. All right. Well, anyways, back to the video. So, you know, we ended up crawling along. A lot of the time, we ended up having to go into four-wheel drive. I was in low range, I think, pretty much the whole time, just trying to squeeze through these boulders. Everything was wet. It was rough going. You know, to say that we got up to 1 mile an hour is probably an exaggeration.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was probably the roughest trail that we've been on here.
But I got to tell you, the countryside was really pretty when you'd stop long enough to take a look around. We actually had scared up a wild turkey, and it was flying just to the left of us. I don't think Lisa saw it.
No,
But,
I was kind of concentrating on the rocks.
well, maybe I'm just the bloody tourist then, but it was a huge bird. It was pretty cool to see it. But, you know, if you look closer, you could see just how rocky and how bumpy this whole ride was. And it was right about here. I actually stopped, and I walked back over to Lisa as she's crawling up, and I asked her, did you really want to continue on? Because we could back up about 50 feet, and there was a trail that headed up.
Oh, you never told me about the trail that headed up.
Well, see, I kind of
No,
did.
no, you didn't,
And,
because I would have like abandoned
and
this
then
trail.
if you see my movement in my hands, I'm telling you, it looks like we're sweeping back up to the left now.
Uh-huh.
And so you decide, well, let's just go forward because it could only get better, and if we're heading back up, we should be okay.
I decided to go forward because I figured it was stinky going backwards, and we weren't sure what was going forward, so we
Well,
knew what was in the back.
well, believe me, it actually got worse before it got better. In this little area here, it was so rocky. My bike was sliding on these rocks. I was kind of thinking I should have been in four-wheel drive to get through there because I was afraid I was going to bounce off one of those rocks and slide into that tree. Thankfully, I didn't. Lisa, I actually think, probably got over those a little bit better than I did.
That's probably because of my shock absorbers.
Yeah, that might be it. But as you can see here, we kind of turn to the right a little bit and we start climbing. And that was actually a welcome sight because I knew up at the top of the hill was the campground. And so all we had to do was do a little bit more rock crawling. As you could see, it was getting pretty rocky. And I mean, rocks are kind of fun to kind of figure your way around them. But this was getting a little bit more technical, and you know, our tires really are more of a mud dirt based tire, not really this rock crawler stuff that we're going through here. And
This right here
that was the
was the
sandwich.
worst.
That was a sandwich. You make one little mistake and you were scraping the heck out of your plastics. There was no.
Well, not just that. You couldn't really see, but there were rocks on the trail, so you're bouncing from side to side, and you're like, "Oh, am I going to hit the rock? Am I not going to hit the rock?"
This is what really surprised me right there. I don't know if you guys noticed it when the video, when it showed Lisa stopping, but she actually went out of four-wheel drive into two-wheel drive. And this is actually a really steep hill we're heading up. And I was in four low, and I'm crawling up the hill. Lisa was doing this in two-wheel drive. I was shocked when I realized, when I actually got off my bike and talked with her at the top of the hill, that I realized that she was actually doing this in two-wheel drive. It actually says a lot about the Eiger bike, how well it was able to negotiate these rocks and the steepness of this hill.
Is this the hill?
This is hill, yeah, you're going up right now. Look at the angle of the tree compared to the ground. You
Right, but
see
it's
that.
not. It's not the like. Not going down that hill.
Yeah. This is the hill, as you call it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time about 2 weeks ago we were at the top of this hill looking down, and Lisa was like,
Not going
I'm
down
not
that
going
hill.
down there. And now here we are crawling up. Well, you know what? To be honest, sometimes going up's better than going down, but there was no other way out of this section. And I'll tell you, standing at the top of the hill like I am there, I was so relieved to be up out of that corner of the property. That wasn't a nice area at all. It's pretty, but it really wasn't something that we want to do twice. We actually kind of laughed about it at the top. We were talking, saying, okay, we've now done it. We've been there,
done that.
done that. We're done with that section of the property. There's no reason to go
Absolutely.
back.
Yep, there's no reason to go back to that. Not happening.
So our plan actually here was just to do kind of one more loop. I knew of a couple more puddles up ahead. I figured we could splash through them and then we'd start heading back to the truck because we're coming up on 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, and rain was supposed to start at 1. And I decided to be a little bit more aggressive with my puddle crossings, if you want to call it that. You know, normally we kind of go fairly slow
You go fairly slow.
through the puddles, and this time I decided to go a little bit quicker than I usually do. Sometimes I'll get up to like 10 miles an hour and go through, but I was hitting them a little bit quicker than that. I went through this one just about the same way Lisa did. Not a problem. And, you know, just went flying up this hill. I was actually having a lot of fun by this time because after getting off that section that we had just crawled through, it made the rest of this trail feel really smooth. So it was kind of fun to get up out of first gear and actually get going. I came onto this puddle and I just kind of let her rip, and I got to the other side, and right about here I stopped.
Yep, blocked my way getting up the hill.
And I did not stop on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if going through there, I haven't looked at the bike yet. I don't know if going through there, if I got a little bit of water in my air box, which would be kind of surprising because it really wasn't that deep. I don't think it was more than, I don't know, what do you think, maybe 10 inches deep?
Yeah, it was just, big splashing, but we've done it before.
Yeah. So, you know what, maybe I got a little water in the spark plug, but I doubt it. I still think it was carburation because I could idle, but I had no, I couldn't get my RPMs up. So we ended up sitting on this hill for a while. The bike stalled out maybe 4 times. I could get it to start again. I was playing with the choke a little bit, trying to see if I could get the revs up enough. Because at this point, we're only, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile away from the trailer, the truck and the trailer. And, you know, by this time, I'm just wanting to get it back. I mean, I could start taking the box off and pulling the air box, opening up the air box and pulling out my air filter and all that good stuff. But like I said, it's almost 1 o'clock. It's going to start raining any minute. We're a quarter mile or less, maybe even, to where the truck was. And so, you know, I just wanted to just limp it home. And
I wanted to push you up the hill.
yeah, I wasn't really for that whole pushing thing. I could see things getting bad with that. So
Yeah, I was getting ready to push you.
I would have rather had you get in front and pull me.
Like, where do I go around you to pull you?
Oh, well, you know, if there's a will, there's a way. We could have figured it out.
I could have was going to push you up the hill and then pull you home.
So you can see the bike's trying to go, but I just can't get enough RPMs rolling to get the bike to actually move. And like I said, I am on a hill, so my best progress was actually in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And
Towards me.
Lisa's like, "You're rolling back towards me." I'm like, "Well, what do you want me to do about it? Back up, girl. Back that thing up." So anyway, so I pedaled and I puddled and I farted around with this thing, and eventually, believe it or not, we'll get this thing going, and you know, and we were able to get it back to the truck. So
Yeah,
probably
little by little, inching forward.
Later this week when the rain stops, it's going to rain for the next couple days, so I'm not going to worry about it. But the next decent day, I'm going to get out there and open up that air box and take a look. I pulled the plug off the bottom of my air box, and a little bit of black liquid came out. Not sure what that was.
Which is kind of concerning.
Kind of looked like crude oil, to be honest with you. I thought maybe the Beverly Hillbillies had struck. But as you can see, you know, I got the revs up enough to get it going. And
all I wanted was off the hill because, you know, it again doesn't look like it in the video, but that was a relatively steep hill.
Well, you could have backed up and sat in the puddle for a while.
I could have backed up and sat in the puddle. I was sitting in the puddle for the longest time.
Well,
but then I decided I got tired of sitting in the puddle.
Well, look at the bright side. At least your bike was still moving.
This is true. It was going to move up your butt so I can push you up the hill.
There you go. Well, at least now you would have had room to get around me.
Right, that's what I wanted you to get up the hill so I could get around you. Not that I was going to leave you in the woods at all. I would never do that.
Well, I know, because you don't know how to drive the truck. So, yeah, I was good
point.
then. Yeah.
But I could have gone back, got my phone, and called an Uber.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck getting an Uber up there.
Yeah, especially now.
So here I am discussing with Lisa, what should I do? Should I open up that air box and take a look? I mean, the bike's running. I just can't get any RPMs up. This is when I decided to check that air box. Because like I said, the water really wasn't that high. It's just I went through it faster than I normally do. So I think it just got a little bit of splash up in there. I'm sure it's probably going to be nothing, and I'll have this bike up and running again in no time. But, I didn't see any water spitting out of my exhaust when I got through the other side, and I watched Lisa's camera to see maybe if I had gotten it doused. But like I said, when I get the chance, I'll get it figured out.
And that's about it. Off we go, heading back to the truck, and we are done.